For 2 years, Tony had been chained outside a deserted factory, a thick metal chain locked tightly around his neck, limiting his world to just a few steps in each direction. Dirt, broken bricks, and silence surrounded him, day and night blurred together, and the only sound he knew was the clinking of the chain whenever he tried to move. But despite the harsh life, his spirit hadn't been broken. When someone approached, his entire body came alive. He jumped, wagged his tail, and greeted the stranger as if they were the best thing that had ever happened to him. Yogurt and meat buns were offered that first day, simple, warm food. His eyes sparkled as he carefully licked the meal, too polite at first to gobble it down. They called him the gatekeeper of the factory, but no one had cared for him properly. His bowl, bent and rusted, had clearly been empty for a long time. Yet his eyes didn't carry anger, only hunger and hope. A name was given to him, Tony. From that moment, everything started to change. Each day after work, a small bag of snacks would make its way to the old factory. Tony grew excited, tail wagging wildly whenever he saw his visitor. The cold ground he slept on remained the same, but the space around him slowly got cleaner. Rotten food scraps were cleared, the stench lessened. His spot, though small and rough, was made a little better each day. And Tony showed his love without holding back, jumping up, licking faces, pressing his body close like he was hugging with all his might. Dirt didn't matter. What mattered was how deeply this dog wanted love. Looking at his miserable living conditions, a decision was made. Tony needed shelter, not just food, but a place to protect him from the wind and rain. A clear patch of ground was found, swept clean, and junk was pushed aside. A large wooden box arrived, soon to become his new home. Tony watched every step, his head tilted, eyes following each nail hammered, each board adjusted. He walked in circles, sniffing curiously, offering quiet support. When the shelter was finally finished, his eyes glowed with curiosity and joy. On the third day, scrambled eggs and sausages were added to his meal. He ate slowly at first, savoring every bite. Despite his past, Tony had grown to trust again. Meals came 3 times a day now. But the survival instincts hadn't faded completely. He would grow tense if anyone came close. While he ate, food was still something to guard, but trust takes time, and he was learning more each day. When the sun set and work hours ended, Tony went on his first real walk. His feet touched gravel outside the factory for the first time in years. He sniffed the ground, looked around, and moved forward with excitement. Everything was new, every sound, every smell. Maybe this was the first time he realized the world was bigger than those few feet of concrete he had been tied to. His connection with his caretaker grew stronger. A question began to take shape: did he deserve a real home, not just kindness? By the gate, the answer came quickly. A small truck was called to take Tony away from the place where his life had once stood still. He peeked out from inside the truck, curious, tail swaying with joy. When he rested his head on the driver's feet, it was clear he wasn't afraid of new things anymore. Tony was taken to be groomed. His matted fur, thick like an old blanket, needed to go. The groomer shaved him carefully. At first, Tony seemed unsure, his eyes looking down, body stiff with nervousness, but soft scratches on his chin calmed him. Slowly, he relaxed. Half an hour later, most of the fur was gone, leaving behind a small lion's mane around his neck. He looked confused, almost shy, but adorably new. The bath that followed was long. It took 2 washes before the water turned clear. Every inch of his body was gently cleaned, and when the warm water washed over him, he seemed to understand what comfort felt like for the first time. With a blow-dryer humming and soft towels wrapped around him, Tony looked like a different dog. That day, he wore a fresh outfit and walked down the street proudly. His head stayed tilted, eyes fixed on the face beside him, as if trying to remember forever the one who changed his world. Dinner had to be adjusted now. One more bowl at the table. Homemade meals were served with added nutrients, calcium, fish oil, glucosamine, probiotics. Tony devoured his food and then stared with big eyes, asking silently to go out and play. He ran like the wind, free and wild, chasing joy as if it had always belonged to him. Under the soft glow of streetlights, his shadow stretched far behind. Making up for all the time lost, he made friends quickly and smiled more each day. When it was time for his vaccination, Tony didn't want to leave the clinic. It felt like he already understood what it meant to belong. But at home, one thing still scared him: stairs. He froze at the edge, trembling, refusing to move forward. Even tempting treats didn't work. One paw stretched forward, then pulled back. It might take time, but that's okay. With patience, he would learn. Every life, no matter how forgotten, deserves kindness, deserves to be seen. Tony's smile now shines like sunlight, and somewhere deep in that warm gaze is a reminder: every stray deserves a second chance.